Well, Speaker, first of all, can I start off by saying that I will not be supporting Councillor Holliday's motion. But I want to be clear at the same time, in terms of what I will be doing, that I continue to be a supporter of bike lanes and building them the best way possible, which includes a way that is compatible with the best interests of the neighborhoods in question. That's how we make progress, to make sure that these things carry with them the confidence of all the people, but including in particular people who are most directly affected. And I stand by being able to say that credibly, that I support that way of doing things, because it is without a contradiction that I can say that since I was elected in 2014, there has been built in the city an unprecedented amount of bikeways, 125 kilometers in fact, and we're going to build more, and it is going to be far in excess of the accomplishment of previous administrations, all of them. The debate today is about building what's best for Yonge Street and for the residents and businesses there, and I think they do have to be placed first at the end of the day, because they live there and they are the ones that are cycling there, perhaps more so in greater numbers than anybody else. They're the people doing business, they're the people walking, they're the people living there. And I think it's about having the best main street in that neighborhood that we can possibly have, and especially when you take into account there are dozens, literally dozens of construction projects yet to come there. You know that they're approved. It's about, and I would like to say at the same time as that we're dealing with a recommendation from staff, of course I acknowledge that, to make this permanent, that we do whatever we can to make sure that the community's concerns, which I don't think have yet been completely addressed in the way that we could if we took a bit of extra time, can be properly addressed. The objective is to make this better. Extending the pilot does not take out these bike lanes. Let's be clear. It doesn't affect the climate change benefits between now and when the pilot comes to an end. They're still there. It doesn't affect the safety concerns, just very legitimately raised. They're still there. People will still be able to use these bike lanes. They're still there. I believe extending the pilot is what's called the improve option. The improve option. My office in the last 2 months got 784 emails. And you know, there's been talk about how I was going around having meetings with the people that live in this neighborhood and the businesses and so on. They are my constituents too, because I have 3 million constituents as mayor. And I think for me to meet with them is the least I could do, to sit and listen as I did. And what they said to me, and by the way, I did get 722 emails on the other side. But that often seems to me, when you get that evenly matched number and hundreds of emails on both sides, as an issue that might require further consideration. We do have to make a decision at some time, and I'm not saying anything even close. In fact, I expressly said I rejected what Councillor Holliday got up and said at the beginning. And I am saying, though, that I think we should take the time to listen to people's concerns, to address them, and in that respect, I think Councillor Burnside's motion sets out in very clear and very firm terms, not things we want sort of studied and considered and thought about, things that must be done to make sure that these bike lanes would still, under my wish and his, obviously, with this motion, be in a pilot for an additional period of time to see if we could do better. And so that is why I extend the pilot, support extending the pilot, so that we can get the right things done before we make it permanent. And that in the meantime, the climate change benefits of it, the safety benefits, all those things are still there while we work to make it better. And it would be my sincere hope that if we extend the pilot, which I hope we would, that we can then spend the time doing all the things that are outlined in Councillor Burnside's motion and more to make these the best bike lanes they could possibly be that address these concerns very legitimately and rationally put, because I witnessed it firsthand, not just reading emails by the local residents. And I think that ranges all the way from emergency responses to traffic considerations to business concerns. I heard facts that hadn't surfaced in any of what I'd heard previously about the business impact this has had on some businesses, which has been very severe. And the whole idea of this, and it has worked out. My experience with bike lanes, which is pretty considerable here, is that every time they've been put in, the longer that time goes on, that as you continue to make changes, refine signal timing, refine the bike lanes themselves, and so forth and so on, they get better. And I think that as opposed to having something that the neighborhood views, for right or for wrong, and it's most of them, as being jammed on them, and that we're not taking the time to fully address and properly address these concerns, the better off we're going to be in terms of them having confidence in what we're doing here. And it's about having the best streets possible and making neighborhoods, these neighborhoods here, part of that process. And so I am given these very real concerns expressed to me in person and in the emails that I received, and so on, in favor of extending the pilot. And I realize this may well be baked. I hope it isn't, because I hope people would think about this for a second and say, well, you know, if you really think about it, what's wrong with extending the pilot? Why is there a rush to do this where we could spend the time earning the confidence of the local people who I believe have spoken far more about concerns they have about this, that we can fix and make better so that we have a better product that will earn their confidence? And why wouldn't we do that? What is the rush to make them permanent? We're not taking them out. I've said I expressly will vote against that when it comes up for a vote. We have built bike lanes. We're going to build more. I'm proud of that. I'm determined to do that because it's the right thing to do for climate change, for transportation options, for mobility, for safety. But I think what we have to do here, and we're on track to achieve, by the way, our plan to build 100 kilometers of bikeways by the end of 2024. But I think this one deserves further care, further improvement. It's the improve option to extend the pilot. It's only until November, but there's lots of time with this directive kind of motion that Councillor Burnside moved to get those improvements in place and earn the confidence of the people who live around there, who I'm standing to represent today, among others, because I think they deserve to have that voice here at the City Council. Thank you.
Thank you.